But my journey has shown me risky, promiscuous sex is behind the surge in HIV infection everywhere and amongst all groups, gay men, heterosexuals and black Africans. It's a surge that's predicted to take total HIV in the world to 60 million in 2015, 50% higher than today. So HIV is not a problem that's getting better. It's one that's getting far worse, and yet we seem to be ignoring it. Is it that we in Britain just don't believe it will happen to us?
You can't tell what HIV looks like. I mean, this is what HIV looks like. It's just the granny sitting next to you on the train.
A rather posh white lady in her late 50s isn't quite what the pupils of this rather posh private school on the outskirts of London expect. Anne-Marie Byrne was almost 50 when she was infected by her second husband. He died within months of being diagnosed. Anne-Marie came back to England with her 11-year-old son to get treatment. If you've ever wondered what the reaction to you would be if you were unfortunate enough to contract HIV, just listen to Anne-Marie.
I thought it would be different here. It hasn't always proved to be as different as I thought it was going to be. Because I speak out quite often, I had AIDS graffiti painted on my flat. My son was surrounded by some young people who jostled him and pushed him and said his mother was a diseased old cow.
Younger generations living quite close to where we are has been rather bad. Calling my mother names, calling her dirty, calling her very horrible names, HIV, whore, whatever it was. I've had graffiti outside our house. People have threatened to beat me up. Kids aging from about 9, following their older brothers, peers, whoever, up to 20s, 30s. I mean, it's not been too good.
I expected Anne-Marie's situation to generate sympathy and support, not a reaction like that. She's one of the first people on this journey to bring home to me the genuine fear HIV sufferers have about the reaction they face from people who find out about their status. She's too frightened to allow us to show where she lives. She's scared about the reaction to being seen on this programme.
And I do get afraid. I get afraid that something might happen to me or my children because of what I'm doing, because of what we're doing.
Yeah. It is astonishing to me. It has been a genuine surprise. I thought I knew my own country, and I had no idea how locked in and alone so many people who are HIV positive feel.
It's a very lonely thing. Do you know that they did a Maury poll a couple of years ago that said 75% of people in the UK wouldn't give money to HIV, to charities? And there's this whole thing of, well, you've done something to deserve it. Yes, I've had sex. Have you? My mother died last year, and she was living in Australia. And I would love to have gone and spent the last few years of her life with her. But I wasn't allowed to live in Australia because of my HIV status. So my mother died, and I'm still really, really sad about that. I should have been living close to her. My daughter lives in New Zealand. I can't go and live next to her either. There are many countries that people living with HIV can't live in. It's to do with stigma. They think we're going to get off the plane and start bonking people and pass it on. And that's not going to happen. It's so not going to happen.
I'm really interested to know if you were shocked when Anne-Marie said that she was HIV positive. Presumably you didn't know when she came in, did you?
I don't know, I just kind of thought you'd be weak or tired or, you know, have a skin... I don't know.
I thought you'd be like quite bitter about everything.
I'm not angry, but I am bitter about the way people with HIV are treated.
How do you think you'd deal with being HIV positive if you didn't give these talks?
Well, if I didn't give these talks, I really don't know, because they've made me feel that I'm doing something worthwhile, and it's made me feel useful. I think I probably would have died. To be perfectly honest, I would have just curled up, closed the curtains, and just said, OK, I'm going to die as well.
Having met Anne-Marie, I know her life is clearly divided into before HIV and after HIV. After is a life of struggle made worse by what she sees as a cold and hostile attitude to a sick person. She thinks her future is bleak, not because the medicines don't work, they do, but because the reaction to her HIV seems so bitter. Clearly a powerful stigma surrounds HIV that's there no matter how you've become infected. So what's the reaction a young teenage girl experiences who was actually born with HIV? How old are you now?
10.
10. You are very small and slight, aren't you?
Yeah. It shows all of my friends in year 6 and then...
Oh, my goodness. And you're the same age as them, then?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord, you are. You look 4 years younger, don't you? You don't look well at all,
No.
do you? You really don't. You poor thing. Looking back... Carly was repeatedly ill, off school, but it still wasn't until she was 11 that she was finally diagnosed with HIV. How had she got it? That was the next question. Eventually, doctors tested Carly's mother and found out that she was positive too, and had been from before Carly was born. Carly had probably been infected by her mother's blood at birth. Carly was left to come to terms both with her HIV and how she contracted it. I wondered how people reacted when she told them she was HIV.
I fell in love with a boy at 14 and I decided to tell him. You know, I trusted him and was together 7 months and I told him. And then, understandably, he did tell his mum. She got drunk one night and out the window on an estate. It's like a small estate with a lot of people that was out. And she screamed it at me.
What did she scream?
What is it, Carly? What is it? Because you've got AIDS. I ran off crying.
Tell me about some of the nasty things that happened to you when it got out.
A girl spray painted over the park about me. A HIV rat, and I'm AIDSed up and diseased and dirty, and big black spray paint. For about 3 months, solid, every weekend, sometimes during nights, girls would ringing me, telling me how dirty I was. They would put lads on the phone, or they'd put me in phone boxes, ring this girl and give her abuse, she's got AIDS. You know, that I've slept with my dad and caught it. And these girls had never met me before in their life, ever. And I tried everything. I tried screaming at them, I tried shouting at them. And then eventually, I decided to try and make them understand. And then I did a blog on my website. And then quite a lot of them apologised.
Really?
Yeah. I've not had a phone call since.